Alright, this is fresh commentary recorded over a run of Dungeons of Infinity so that I have better commentary for the educational speedrun that I'm doing here. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm starting out on the main screen and I'm showing that the version is 1.1.4 as can be seen in the bottom left. The next thing I'll be doing is purging my already existing profile. This is because each of your profiles contains an array of 6 arrays called the dungeon sequence, which is static. It never changes whenever across your speed run. Across your profile, no matter how many runs you do. And that determines how the dungeon is built. Together with the dungeon sequence index, you can get the same dungeon layout, not the same rooms, not the same items, not the same shops, but the same layout. So it's easy to cheat through having a predetermined dungeon sequence index, say save scumming, so that you know exactly what something is going to produce. You're going to know exactly where the secret rooms are. You're going to know where the locked drawers are. You're going to know where the keys are located. The next thing I'm going to show is that I am taking a bonus item, the shield, and I'm putting on the challenges of low health and tiny inventory. That is actually important because the challenges are important because I want to lower the item pool for the item shop on the 6th floor, which can contain both cart containers and inventory bags. And I want that to contain the Master Key and the Moon Pearl. The Master Key unlocks all small doors. The Moon Pearl lowers all crystal barriers as you get close, so they're quite important for speedruns. Now, the unfortunate thing about starting a new profile is that you will have to reconfigure your controls each time because those are tied to the profile instead of to, something else in the code. This is unfortunate, especially for users like Zastfree, very skilled speedrunner, more skilled than me, who has to reconfigure his controller every time. So this run was selected from one of my mid-of-the-range runs. 47 minutes is, I think, an excellent target for a first-time speedrunner to hit. It's hard to hit if you're just playing casually, and it's easy to hit once you learn the strats for speedruns. So I think that means it's perfect for a first entry to a speedrun thing. Alright, so... Oh, did you see what I just did? I just cleared my bonus item. I did notice during this run that I didn't get the shield, and I was wondering if that was a bug. No, it was just me being a little bit stupid. So I could have saved myself some money and some items. The first thing I'm going to do upon starting the game here is I'm going to go into the options, and I'm going to turn off the item message. Now, the fact that I don't have my split started yet is irrelevant because I'm going to start a new game here. This is allowed. There's no way to inject a save file while you are in the game. Once you get back to the title, you can inject a new save file in that will have a save scum dungeon, but the new game, no, it won't do it. And mostly, you will not have the same layouts from the same dungeon sequence as long as the dungeon sequence index changes. So the dungeon sequence index changes... basically, every time you pass a floor, one of the indexes in the dungeon sequence index, it's an array of 6 indexes, will increase depending on which floor you went onto. So that'll make it different each time. So what I'm trying to do now by going in all the doors is trying to check out where the key loop is and what part I enter it from. So I saw the key door, and I'm figuring this is a very long corridor, so this is probably going to be where I loop around to get the key. Whenever you see a one-way door, that probably means that you need to come from the other side of that one-way door, and the room behind it has a key behind it. This is not always true, but that's kind of a general trick you can use for navigating the dungeon much quicker. So, there are a couple of things I just picked up. I picked up the map, which showed me that I'm actually wrapping all the way around. I think I'm coming across the key in the next room map. Nope, this room. So now I know that the other side is not going to be blocked, and I'm going to try to walk through it just so... Well, it's the same amount of distance, just about. And I want to get all the treasures on the first floor, because I want the Master Pearl, Master Key, and the Moon Pearl, and those can cost up to 400 each. Now, the village can provide me with reliably 500 rupees, especially if I do the King's Quest, which is the long fetch chest that ends in the treasury, but you still then need 300 rupees going down to the village in the first place. So, I did my first, a good castle dungeon there. That is the last time I'll be having a good floor on this run, which is part of what makes it, an ideal run for speedrunning. You can see me here thinking about the key loop, and I'm going to be going to the left to try and take advantage of that. Now, this actually turns out to be a very unusual floor, too, in that there's nothing in this key loop. This is also where I realized that I didn't have the starting shield. So that was my misselection. That would have saved me some health and some money. The item pool would have been different. Who knows how the run would have gone? Knock-on effect, because that's a progressive item that I'm going to see throughout. And it has different prices for the different layers in my experience. Like the first layer there is the cheapest one. And so now I'm killing every monster in here to try and find a key, because I know if I go through that door to the right, it'll be a one-way door. And so I'm expecting one of these guys to drop it. So I'm heading back another one to see the beginning of the key loop. There's nothing here. So I have a one-way door that locks me into this loop. I have a one-way door here, and there's nothing required here. That's very unusual, and extremely unusual on level 2. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to find the other key loop here. Early sword, always nice to get some sword upgrades. So the way sword upgrades work in this game is that every time you increase your attack power, you are going to get, enemies are going to take one less hit to destroy. So that guy would have taken 2 hits. I have a level 2 sword, he now takes 1 hit. Armos takes 10 hits with a level 1 sword, so Armos is now going to take 9 hits with a level 2 sword. It can be somewhat disappointing that you're getting through the through all the enemies on the floor much faster, but Armos just requires 2 less hits each. But once you know how it works, it's pretty fair. Defense works in a very similar way. For 0.2, so each defense will reduce the number of hits you take by 0.25 hearts, and if it's already 0.25 hearts, it will reduce it to the minimum of 1/8 of a heart. Here's Justin. Justin is only sometimes in the prisons, optional NPC, and if you talk to him 3 times, he'll give you those rupees. This is Peso. He gives you a letter that he wants to give to his lady love in the Rebel Village, and she will reward you with somewhere between 100 to 250 rupees. Now, that is most probably a key chest, as you can tell from the fact that it's cordoned off. It's just kind of the thing that the game likes to do is show you where you need to go in another room. What I'm trying to do right there is see if I can pick up the pot through the banisters. So I hadn't actually tried that before, except for different layers. I know that if you're on a different layer, you can currently still pick up the pots from a different layer. So if there was steps down there, and that was a lower layer, you would have been able to pick up the pots as long as you were close to them. They don't care about the Z layer that you're on. Now, I've already seen into the other room, so I know that I need to go here, and I'm checking the pot first. If I had the level 3 sword, I could have hit that pot from the other side, and if that had the key, I would have been able to get over early. And that sometimes does happen. You'll see it happen more frequently with crystal barriers. Now, at this point, I'm eyeing that sword, and I've decided to take it because the long sword has a huge benefit for speedrunning, in that I am now able to smash pots instead of lifting them, and that is going to save me a lot of time in various parts of the speedrun. Now I am looking for secret rooms and trying to engage in which one is the treasure. I know this is the intermediary room, so I'm kind of expecting the intermediary room between 2 different dungeon structures. So I am expecting to see something somewhere. And I'm picking up this red kinstone. That'll never get cashed in on this run. Kinstones are a rare cash-in. You need to find the matching pedestal. The only guaranteed pedestal you will come across is the gold kinstone pedestal in the Dwarf village. But because I have tiny inventory, I'm not going to keep this around to cash it in. I still pick it up because the citrine gems... So the way gems work, you toss 2 gems in a Zora's Pond, and the combination of 2 gems you toss in determines what combination you get back out, what item you get back out. Citrine does not lead to any exciting possibilities. It leads to 3 drinks, 60 arrows, 4 fire orbs. That's probably the most exciting for a speedrun. 2 magic jars if you do it with a turquoise. Sorry, that's actually the most exciting if you have the cape. The Rod of Stone, Ring of Arrows, very useful for swordless. The Fire Rod, the Lamp, and the Immunity Curse pendant. Notice that the last 2 are changed from previous versions before 1.1.4. It used to be the Cape and the Pendant of Wealth. So the Pendant of Wealth was completely useless for all challenges, and now it's the Curse Immunity Pendant. So it's very useful if you get Noble at a Citrine. For all challenges, for Swordless, you also tend to want the Fire Orbs a lot and the Ring of Arrows, because Ring of Arrows gets you extra ammo, and the Ring of Fire makes mandatory rooms take... Orb of Fire makes mandatory rooms take much less ammo. So, as you can see, I just had that kind of classical door loop that led me around. Now, let's see... Oh, right now I am talking about mandatory fights. So when you enter a room, it will be a mandatory fight if, and, well, not only if, so if the room door closes behind you, it might be a mandatory fight room. It's never going to be a mandatory fight room if the door doesn't close behind you. So whenever you have a door that is opened by a switch, by lighting all the torches, or by a switch under a pot, or by a movable block, but that's currently not in the game because it was blocking people's actual progression, so Justin just decided movable blocks can help people's, what's its name right now? Movable blocks can hide treasures, but they can never hide keys, and they can never hide doors, because, you know, people running into progression blocks. So switches will only ever open one door, but mandatory fights will close every door in the room until you defeat every enemy. So now I'm about to do a fairly quick Armos. I have 4 bombs. You need 5 for the quick Armos strat on no challenges. Tougher enemies requires more. So what you want to do, you want to wait for the first Armos to pass you by when he's going behind the circle, and then you can toss 3 bombs right quick. The first guy, you want to lay a bomb. Ideally, you would sword him as you're laying the bomb, and then you lead him to the bomb to be destroyed. Then you would lay a bomb, sword him, and then lead him to the bomb to be destroyed. That would be 4 stomps from him, and that would be the fastest you can get it. So this was a 20-second Armos. I think you get 18 seconds if you had 5 bombs and you did it right. I wasn't really focusing, so I got hit a couple of times, and I forgot to sword him the first time he stomped. So trying to talk while doing the run was kind of screwing me up a little. So there's a crystal barrier up there, so now I'm looking for a crystal switch, and I do believe that ends up leading to only a key door. So right now you can see why I like taking the shield as my first item. My main category is all challenges swordless. So I am heavily avoiding monsters in that. I'm constantly juking them. In this, I just tend to, whenever I'm just playing no challenge, or almost no challenges, and swordless, and with the sword, I just kind of get lazy, and I walk into enemies all over the place. That's why I like having defense, because it makes those decisions actually take less damage. But it's not a great strat. I actually have a lot of deaths, I have a lot more fumbles in my glitchless completion runs than I do in my other ones, because I just kind of walk into enemies and let it happen. So, oops. Now at this point, I am also looking for a key, because I feel like the map generation is such that there's room for 2 things to have spawned. I only saw the switch, and I had all this room to the right in which something could have happened. So at this point, I'm trying to make my way up here, and I'm remembering that, oh, that's where my key door is. I did need a key, and it's separated at the top. So that means the crystal barrier here must be up here, first of all. I'd forgotten that I saw it earlier in the level. And the key must be up here, and it is indeed going to be in that chest. So crystal barriers and small keys are always going to be mandatory, or supposed to always be mandatory for going down a floor. I have only twice seen a dungeon structure where 2 different locked key dungeon structures have overlapped with each other in such a way that I could go to the second locked key and skip the first one. Otherwise, every time you see a locked door, you're going to want to go through it. And every time you see a crystal barrier, you're going to want to go through it. Which means if you have the Master Key and Moon Pearl, those are your guideposts for going through the level very, very quickly. You try not to go behind places where you think it'll lead you into a, lead you behind a one-way door loop, as I'm looking to do right now for keys on this part of the map, on this part of the game, the first 6 floors. And instead you're looking to skip those altogether. So you're trying to avoid things that would lead behind a one-way door, and you're trying to go through every small key and crystal barrier that you see. This will most often save you a great deal of time, and that's the way by which I have managed to get like 19-second water temple runs, for example. So my sum of best right now is 22 minutes. Boomstick, which is currently pretty much our world record holder, except that he was playing on old rules. So Boomstick got a 23-minute, his sum of best segments is 16 minutes. So we're now looking at there possibly, with perfect play, possibly being a 15-minute run of this game. And that will probably happen with our semi-seeded runs that are happening from save scum save states. Right now, I'm not making that a category. It doesn't seem like we understand it well enough that it would really be a fun category. I am going to open up that discussion to people, and basically I've told them, if you want to do any category of run, just show me 3 different people have videos completing it, and I will consider it for inclusion to the speedrun.com boards. I'm very allowing when it comes to category proliferation, but I mean, obviously there's going to be more considerations than that. Like, if a category is very, very close to an existing one, I'm not just going to let it be split like that. That was items that replenish hearts don't work, which is bad because I'm at half a heart. But I need to collect 40 rupees, which isn't much. And you can see I just walked into a rat here, and my reaction to that as I was playing was, wow, I'm very stupid. I just went and tanked damage from a rat for no reason. I saw it was coming. I didn't bother to avoid it. And I have a cloak. I could have avoided that damage if I couldn't avoid it like that. And I can't replenish hearts right now, and I'm low in health. On the other hand, all the monsters right now are dropping some pretty nice rubies for me, which is allowing me to kill this curse pretty nicely. There is kind of a superstition in the community that a curse will be exactly what you don't need at the moment. And what I was demonstrating there, by the way, is that sometimes those curtains are going to hide, are going to hide extra doors. Not extra doors, possibly just normal doors. So it's not going to be a secret room because it's behind a vine. The vine is just, you need to slash this to continue, but it's considered to be obvious. And right here, I'm cursing these grasshoppers for being hard to hit, and why am I wasting time on them? But the thing about those curtains is, you didn't used to be able to use your lantern or the arrows to open them, so they used to be a stopping point for the swordless and all challenge swordless categories. And now they aren't. So right now, I was trying to figure out, like, where's the key, because I'm going back to somewhere I was before, but that room up there was a bridge room, so I couldn't have gone this path before from that room. And so I was like, oh, I'm being a bit silly right now. I'm trying to buy those eggs, but I remember just in time that items that raise my health won't help, and I'm coming across a room with one of those, and I really hate the Medusas there that shoot a shot every time you... And I'm now regretting that I used the fire orb when that was there. So right now, usually when your inventory is full and there's a healing item on the ground, you get the option to consume it, unless you're already at full health. So I'm very glad I just got that after clearing my curse. Now I'm no longer in danger of ending the run just by tanking a hit by habit. And I'm remembering I still have fire orbs. This is the reason why I like collecting fire orbs if I have free inventory slots, and I even prioritize them over kinstones and gems, because now I get to hit a whole bunch of enemies in mandatory fight room very, very quickly. And I realized that I had a gap in the middle of my minimap there, which meant that there was probably a secret room in the middle here if there wasn't a door to the left. Since there wasn't a door to the left, I tried to hug it for an invisible wall, and indeed it was a secret room. Now, I'm not going to do much secret room hunting in this run, and later in the run I'm going to abandon secret room hunting entirely, because I already have the items I need. Why am I still opening treasure chests? There was a point at Aghahnim's lore where I was actually saying that, but I was also afraid that I'd run out of mana going through Aghanim's lair. So right now I'm very, very happy about the rupees I'm getting. I'm up to 450, and I haven't even gotten to the... I haven't even gotten anywhere yet. I'm still only at the sewers. So I'm still at 350 after spending that money. Now, I knew there had to be a door hidden behind a curtain there. And right now I think I'm going... Yeah, I am going to the village. Sorry, I thought I still had floor before that while I was running too. I don't know why I had that misconception both times I was here. So right now I'm talking about how I have enough rupees and how I don't need to do the King's Quest. That means I'm going to get the rupees from the library on the way in. So there's a number of hidden rupees in the village that are very nice to find. So there is 40 behind the bookshelf, 40 behind one of the statues coming in, and 60 behind the waterfall. So there's 140 rupees just lying there on the ground for you to get, 5 treasure chests, and a quest for you to lock in, as well as chickens that you can lift to possibly get eggs or golden eggs, which give you 200 rupees, and a whole bunch of shrubs, which usually give you a bunch of extra cash, in addition to the King's Quest. So you can see why I say that it's common for you to get a lot of... to get 500 rupees in the village lair. So I would normally skip these rupees if I didn't have enough, or I was worried I didn't have enough, because the King's Quest requires you to pass in the All Donut Diet book, which you can find under one of the shrubs on the graveyard screen, which starts off the fetch quest for the King's Quest. So I would get those while I'm passing them in if I need to do that. Now, here, talking to this lady here, She's the one who wants the letter from Peso, so I just got rid of that letter, and 225 is almost the maximum rupees. So she gives you rupees in 25 increments, and lately I've gotten between 150 and 250 rupees every time I've talked to her. I've gotten as low as 75 before, but I think possibly it was increased from previous versions, or I'm misremembering. Those are the rupees behind the waterfall, by the way. So I'm already at 149, so no matter what the Master Key and Moon Pearl cost, if they're both there, I can afford them. I was considering going down and doing a check, but I decided to go here and lift this chest first. So, and fairy orbs, but at least that's a full heal. I'm disappointed by it. So now I'm lifting up all the chickens. I don't get any eggs or golden eggs on this run, but getting that extra 200 rupees would be nice. And, you know, it's a last-ditch thing that you can check. And here I'm not really happy with those drops. I'm not bothering to get every sort of shrub. I'm just kind of hitting what I can. So, yeah, that was my decision again. I'm not going to check. I am very nervous at this point that this might be a run where I get neither the Moon Pearl or the Master Key. I was actually considering quitting if I had only one of the Moon Pearl or Master Key, but I decided in the end that because I have the cloak, the cape, I'm going to keep it if I get at least one of the items. And there is currently a problem with this run that makes the Master Key slightly less likely to drop, I think. We're not totally sure how item pools work yet. And the idea there is you can get 2 Moon Pearls in the shop right now. So that was 2 gems there right now, and I looked down and I immediately knew that that was not going to be a combination that I really cared for. I think it was Jade and Turquoise, so a Bomb Rod, which isn't bad, but not something I really care about. Either way, turning stuff in for Gems of Azor's Pawn takes a long time, so unless it's an item I need, I'm usually going to skip it. So, now I am finally checking the shop. Usually I'd also check the magic shop for the pendant, but for the cloak, but I already have it. And I don't care about any pendants because I'm going to want the rest of my inventory space for consumables. I'm going to want to stock up on healing items. I'm going to want to stock up on magic things. So right now I'm dropping probably that and my gold kinstone to pick up all these different magic potions so I can regen. Oh, I'm dropping my bombs instead. That also makes sense. So the gold kinstone, if I happen to still have that in my inventory by the Dwarf village, guaranteed gold pedal still there. Very nice item drops. May as well. Mirror Shield and Sword are going to be the only things I upgrade here. I don't want to take up space with the tunic, and I don't want to take up space with the gloves. It only adds 1 defense, and the gloves will then add 2 attack for the next 2. Extra attack doesn't really matter that much because you're just reducing the number of attacks that enemies take by 1. And I already have a Sword 4, so I'm already very happy with the amount of attack I have. Here I'm equipping the cape before I forget, and now my hand is going to be in the claw posture for the rest of the game as I keep one finger on the run, and I'm going to want to be hitting down on the hitting down on the cloak activation. So here I'm disappointed that I found a switch because I just bought the Moon Pearl. By the way, the Moon Pearl now changes colors, so you might have noticed it was red in my inventory. Now it's blue in my inventory because the crystal switch state flipped. And right there, I'm regretting that I didn't hit the, even though I knew I needed it, hit the cape. So I just tanked damage for no reason. So I'm disappointed that I didn't save any time there for the Moon Pearl. The Moon Pearl is, in my experience, less useful than the Master Key. Because, like, you know, there's more Master Keys that you need to get than Moon Pearls, and some Moon Pearl fences are cheatable. So right now I'm looking for extra health and rupees from these guys, because I'm still hoping to hit a couple of good, a couple of good shops, and I have one here, the Final Shield upgrade. So now I can deflect just about any projectile, and I have 4 passive defense, which is excellent. So now that's a full heart taken off of what any enemy might be dealing to me. But this is a mandatory fight room because the door closed behind me, and I hate it because these guys take a long time to hurt. And I'm looking at that ice orb, and I'm being like, I wish that I had had that before I started this room. Okay, I'm coming to the end of most of the category and strats that I can tell you, so I'll start getting more quiet throughout this run. Yeah, I'm just saying I didn't need that entire loop around because it turned out to be a crystal barrier. So I should be in the mindset right now of I need to track down the key door or the place to go. So right now I'm discovering that, my door just closed behind me, which is, interesting that it kind of locked me in there, except that I can go back over to this room. But I'm also missing the key. So I actually missed another room very early on, I think, or no, there was another spot that had it. So I know that the key is not going to be beyond that first crystal barrier, because the keys are in the same dungeon structures that you need them from. And the key barriers, the key doors, and the crystal barriers mark the indications between them. So I'm figuring this room is the most likely one to get a key, because it's kind of separate from the main path. And there's no one-way doors. So I know that wherever the key is, it has to be an equivalent amount away from the main paths. Now, that was 2 rooms away from the 2 selector. That's 2 rooms away from here, and it's one-way door. So I figured that was the most likely to give me what I wanted. And I was right. I did get the key there. Now I'm going to need to go across a warp tile, get the next key, as you can see, because there's a warp tile that warps me back to this room. Warp tiles do not always lead you back. Sometimes you just get warp tiles that move you forward in the dungeon. And so you can be locked off from the start of the dungeon by a warp tile, which can be nasty if you're, playing more casually and you wanted to get something in a shop. And here, once again, right now I'm feeling pissed off that I didn't pick up that ice orb earlier on the level. So again, I knew this was a mandatory fight room because the door slammed shut behind me. I didn't know that for sure, but it's pretty likely. When there's no way to go back, it's probably not going to hit you with a one-way door. On the other hand, I always knew I would be returning because it's, what's its name? I always knew I'd be returning because I already saw that warp tile, so it wasn't that certain. Now, I'm going up here, I'm seeing there's a way to go on. Usually these one-way door tiles, especially I have the key there, so I know the warp tile's going to be beyond there, so that means this is a secret room. And I can pick up those rupees. I still want some rupees so that I can buy a bunch of magic potions on the Dwarf Village floor. Because there's a guaranteed shop there that's going to sell a bunch of them, hopefully. Not just all antidotes as I've had before. At this point, I'm also realizing... No, I already realized that I messed up my splits there. That was on... Oh, geez, yeah. As I went through that warp tile, I messed up my split. I said that my split for Lamos's Lair is done, and oops, I haven't even made my way to Lanmolas yet. So, by habit, I pressed the wrong thing. I don't usually like these Great Fairies, but I did need the health right now. They take a lot of time for what's just a heal. That could be just, oh, I fought a monster and an item popped up. I am actually going to pop up take this large magic because it's magic gen. I actually meant to just drop that bomb, but whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm going to drop it behind me anyways, so why care? Oh, and of course I get the rupees to replace the ones I just spent. I had a lot of rupee luck this entire game. So, there's a lot of saves in this run. I decide not to even take that tunic. I decide just to leave it behind. There's nothing I want to drop right now. I prefer having a half thing of magic that I do to having, having a tunic. So this is a pretty long floor. Look how much of the map is explored. All of that was mandatory for me, except for the switch at the very beginning. So now, with Lanmolas, I'm going to have a relatively fast Lanmolas fight. I think this actually ended up being my fastest Lanmolas fight, which is a pity that it wasn't recorded. Because I have a level 4 sword, so they're taking 3 less hits than they would if I had a level 1 sword, and I have the cloak, so I can just pursue them and hit and hit and hit. Now, you might notice I don't get a heart container drop after this fight. That's because I have to challenge low health on. So my maximum health containers are 5. I already have them. It's not going to drop it. That means I don't get a full heal after this fight because I don't get that heart container. This is actually something that's also the case if you have 16 heart containers, if you have the maximum, that you won't get a heart container after boss fights, and so you won't get that full heal. So that's important to note. So I wouldn't fill yourself up on heart containers before going to Lanmolas or to Moldorm because you're especially after Moldorm, you're going to want full hearts going into Aghanims Lair. After Lanmolas, less important, you're just going through the ancient rooms in the Water Temple. So the ancient rooms, I find they tend to spawn in a way that makes me take a lot of time through them. So even though this is going to be a very long floor for me, I'm not going to spend much time on it. And I'm trying to read the map right now, and I'm figuring I want to try and find a crystal switch, that is to say a crystal barrier, so I can run over it. And I saw that door, that one-way door loop to the bottom below me, and I figured that, what's the word? I figured that would probably lead me to either a crystal switch or a key, and right now I'm reading the map is meaning that I will have 2 necessary components here. Now, I wanted to bomb that wall, even though there's a decoration there, because bridge rooms like that very, very commonly have all 4 entrances filled up. It's very unusual to see one where you only get 1. So now I'm figuring it's either a 2-key setup, because I saw that one-way door loop at the bottom at the start of the level, or it's a key and a switch setup. So I'm going to just make a couple of extra room checks here, and then I'm going to head back to the what's-its-name. Going to head back to the key door and find out that it's 2 keys, I believe. So right now I'm also talking about the arrows. So bombs have a set attack power. I'm actually not sure what it is, but I know that 1 bomb is equal to 4 hits from level 1 sword against Armos. So maybe you can derive it from there. And yeah, I'm going through, I'm finding there's a 2nd key, and I'm realizing I have a 2nd place to go. But arrows, on the other hand, they have an attack power that they start off with that's higher than the sword. I'm going to buy the spare key here instead of looking for where the key is in all those rooms that I passed by. Which saves me time. That's exactly why I want to buy spare keys. But the bow does not upgrade in attack... Sorry, the bow upgrades in attack for every 3rd attack power that you get, according to Justin. So I haven't fact-checked that yet and seen if he's, remembering the current state of things or if he's remembering an old one. I'm looking for a star in this room. I'm not going to find it, and that's a bit of a piss-off to me with these Helmosaurs. So I think I'm going to activate the cape here so that they stand still. Or maybe I don't remember that... Oh, I get a... Right, so before I remember I have the cape, I find that neat little thing. Oh, and I was just showing that I could kill the Medusa when it was frozen. So when I get the Blood Sword, I can kill the Medusas, I can kill the moving spike blocks, and I can kill the anti-fairies. So there's also a new sprite for movable blocks in 1.1.4. I didn't come across any movable blocks in this run, as far as I noticed. Let's see. At this point, I finally remember I have cape. And I see that one-way door behind it. I don't think I ever come back to that one-way door, but I'm expecting to. So I'm going to the left to try and get the key, but I have the key here, and I don't have a loop back to that one-way door. So I'm very confused at this point, but I'm just going, okay, there's probably a crystal barrier that I walked over at some point. And here we go. That's that crystal barrier. Yeah, and I just figured out I have an extra key because I had the Moon Pearl at the right point. So that key would have led to a crystal switch. So now I have it. I don't remember if I used that extra key at some point. I might forget about it for the rest of the run and just end up with an extra key by the time I fight Ganon. Because I'm usually thinking, have I gained a key, not anything else. So my fastest water temple is only 19 seconds, because you very commonly get water temples where it's like, haha, here's a crystal barrier, but you need to go all around the level to actually unlock it in a way that you can come back to it. So if you have the Moon Pearl, there's very commonly water temple levels that you solve very, very quickly. And if you have the temple and the if you have the the Master Pearl, Master Key, and the Moon Pearl, you can get some very, very quick water temples. This is not a quick water temple. I think it's all the way in the opposite corner of the map is where I end up needing to go. So, it doesn't matter what items I got, I would have taken a long time to get there. Mandatory fight room, and I particularly hate these guys. I need to look up what they're called. I know these aren't Lionels, but that's the word that comes to mind. And I also had low health right there, so I was like, I better use my cape magic. Why am I not using my cape magic? Especially because these guys, they take so many hits. They hit you with that flame. It usually hits pretty hard, but at this point I have 5 shield, which is, you notice they're still hitting me for half a heart, which means that 1.25 half a heart, they normally hit, that flame normally hits you for 1.75 hearts. That's what I'm used to from all challenges swordless, and those guys are a pain in the ass. Now I have the Blood Sword. I am very happy to see that. That is the highest sword I have ever gotten during a speedrun, and I didn't go out of my way to get it. It just gave me the rupees, and it gave me the shops. So right now I'm realizing I just went in a loop, and I didn't find anything for it. No, I just realized I have a key still in my inventory. So I think I found a key door somewhere. Oh my. So I took the fast way through here completely by accident. And this is me realizing that I need to use my cape more often because I'm just about to die. for no reason. And I forgot that these jellyfish, they're not a threat to me. I don't need to cape because I have the level 4 sword. In fact, I have the level 5 sword, which means I can hit electrified enemies and they won't get me. So by the way, while I'm talking about mandatory rooms, that Pendant of Protection was tempting, but I didn't get it. This magic is much more tempting, and I did get it. But also, I liked getting that nice health refill. While we're talking about mandatory rooms, flying enemies, such as Keys, Keys or Pose, will never hold mandatory, will never be part of mandatory fight rooms, and they will never hold keys to that you need to progress, because they can fly to parts of the level that you just can't reach. The Pose tend to fly all around the level, but the Keys especially will flutter about and flap until they settle in a corner of the room where you can't activate them again, and the wall will stop any of your attacks from reaching them. So, to prevent them from blocking your progress, just to make sure that none of those monsters will ever block your progress. And the Quiver, I would be happy to see that on many runs, especially my normal all-challenge speedruns. Oh, torches. Torches in a lit room. These were always going to trigger something. You only see torches in a lit room when they will activate a switch or put a treasure in there. So at this point, I'm really happy that I'm getting all of these rupees just before I'm going down to the dwarf floor, because that means I can restock on all my magic potions. And I think I just used my last one. So, you know, it's nice to have that dwarf village there that will restock you on magic potions, because you usually only get 2 or 3 potions that you can stock from each village, if you can even afford them. Okay, you know what? I had to go in an N shape for that. So it wasn't on the opposite side of the map, but there was no straight passageway from start to end. But I had that spare key. I could have saved myself a lot of walking if I had explored properly. Right now I'm talking about how I don't have any bombs, so I'm not going to explore any of the Dwarven Village, and I never get the treasure cave in the Dwarven Village. There's actually a second part of the treasure cave too. I usually never get that when I'm playing normal runs. Justin apparently made it give you better stuff these times. So now I will end up having 3 jars, 3 magic jars, large magic refills, and I will end up having 2 potions of HP and MP regen, which is going to be enough to take me for the rest of the game. So Moldorm's Lair will usually go about through, I'd say maybe a bar and a half, and then Moldorm himself, you don't need any magic against him. The cloak will prevent you from being hurt by Moldorm's main body, but it will not prevent you from being bounced around by Moldorm, which is, you know, the main problem with Moldorm. So Moldorm's Lair, I have had very, very fast Moldorm's Lair before. So right now I'm looking at this Y-split here. There was also a path off to the left, and I'm thinking, okay, there is going to be a key and magic crystal, or 2 keys. So I am gambling and hoping that I'm going after a key right now, not a crystal, and then I'm going to be checking the door. So I knew over here was going to be a secret room, just from how it was laid out, and I actually am talking right now in my original commentary about how maybe I shouldn't have gotten into that. I have all the items I need. I can't really get much from treasure chests at this point. So the reason I knew that that was going to be an extra room is because there's already a door down here, and I already saw this locked door. So I already knew where the loop about was, so that was tacked onto a loop out. It had to be an extra room for some reason. And right now I'm very happy that I didn't go down the other path, because it would have been a waste of time because I already had the Moon Pearl. I'm talking again about how that Pendant of Protection is very tempting with all these spiked rooms, but I'm using the cape anyways, you'll note, and I would be regardless. So right now I'm hoping that was just a one-way door that closed behind me, and that it was a switch, because I hate going across all these guys. And right now I'm kind of disappointed that there's no star in this room. So there's a lot of enemies like this. That means it's a prime candidate for a star room. I don't think I've ever seen a star room in the same room as a fire bar. I wonder if that's related. But stars anyways, I think star rooms spawn independently of like talking about whether there's a lot of monsters or not. And that means that star rooms will always be impactful. So when you find a room where there's a lot of enemies, it's a good chance, not a perfect chance, good chance that it is in fact a star room, and you should look further into it. Now, I have also seen some star rooms that looked pretty convincing right up until a midpoint. Here I go, I'm using another, I think I'm deciding to, I used my 2 magic jars there because that would just about fill up my thing, and that leaves me with an extra inventory slot to pick up whatever consumable is coming along. What's really funny there is as I was going right now in my new commentary, I was also going in my commentary while I was playing. So I was trying to figure out what I was doing right now, and at that point I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I knew that wasn't going to be a mandatory fight room because the door didn't close behind me, so I knew to look for switches instead. So, you know, that's minor, but it can help your speedruns if you know what to do. Green Kinstone, and I'm talking about how I'm not going to match that. So Kinstones, I don't think I talked about this yet in this commentary. I did already at this point in my original commentary. Green Kinstones will usually give you recovery items, possibly some rupees, that kind of stuff. Blue Kinstones are more rare. They have the possibility of giving you a heart container or a map and compass. Red Kinstones are another step up of rareness. They can give you stuff like bomb, quiver, and treasure bag. Bomb bag, that is. They can give you the bow. They can give you, I think they can give you gloves. They can give you a bunch of very useful items. So you love to see a red Kinstone on all challenge swordless. And then what's its name? Gold Kinstones are the rarest of all. They aren't particularly useful to an all challenges run, though, all challenge swordless run, because they'll give you stuff like sword upgrades. And a hell of a lot of rupees. There's no shops in all challenges, so you can't use that, and sword upgrades just turn into even more rupees for you. So golden kinstones, not the best. I mean, they do give you free pendants, so if you can get like a curse of immunity from them. So now the best way to fight Moldorm is to let him run straight at you and then hit the tail behind him. So you can see there I'm a bit mystified about how I managed to miss that all the time. So go across the arena, let him go in a straight line towards you, and then it's easy to juke him. In that case, he did a zigzag when I wasn't expecting him to, and that almost ruined me. So this is actually a really bad Moldorm fight for me. You're going to see me get hit by him a couple of times. So he's being very zigzaggy right now, and I don't even know how I was hit by that instead of slashing him. Well, I know now watching on the video. At the time I was playing, I was confused. So now I realize I actually had a healing item I picked up with that extra inventory slot I made. And so I'm more than willing to spend that. So he hits like a truck when you hit his tail. His head will just bounce you off. It does no damage, but it does hit you into pits. So that was actually a fairly fast Moldorm fight. It was a bad one because I get hit so much. If that was all challenge swordless, I would have been very, very embarrassed. So all challenge swordless, he requires 16 arrows to defeat, assuming that you don't have any attack power. And I think that's always going to be 16, because you can only get up to attack level 2 by getting the gloves on swordless. Gloves to the super duper level. Lanmolas, by the way, will take 11 arrows each, so 33 for all the boss. And Armos is most commonly killed on all challenge swordless by hitting him with 8 bombs. 4 to get rid of the main form, and then 4 for the red form. Because all challenges includes tougher enemies, which includes bosses, which gives them extra hits. So they require 4 instead of 3 bombs in on all challenges. Now, tougher enemies isn't one of the ones that reduces the item pool, so I don't see that ever being a part of Glitchless Completion. The other one that I see being part of Glitchless Completion that I didn't turn on was Pitch Black. So Pitch Black is... Pitch Black, turns off the lights. Every room is dark, and including rooms like the village and stuff. And in addition to that, I only just remembered I could kill that Medusa, which was giving me problems because I had the blood sword. In addition to that, no lamp upgrades will ever spawn. So no lamp upgrades can also help stuff in... Lamps are something that will spawn in the item shop on the 6th floor, so it can make your run more consistent, and you can get more rupees if you would get a lamp at the chest up until that point, to get both the Moon Pearl and the Master Key in the shop and have enough rupees to purchase them. So that might possibly be, Pitch Black might possibly be where the run eventually goes. Now, for Glitchless Completion, lights on, you already get the benefit of no lamps in the item pool, because with the lighting engine off, there's no dark rooms, and there's no lamps in the item pool anyways, I believe. I've never actually played with lights on myself, right now I'm making fun of that. I'm about to go to the last boss. I don't care if I'm cursed not to buy any items from shops. Oh no. That can be a really horrible one early in the run. Like if I get that on floor 5 and then I'm not able to buy from the village, that's a run ender right there. That means I can't buy either the Moon Pearl or the Master Key. I'm just going to abandon the run. So curses can be quite nasty, but sometimes you get ones that are totally ineffective. In all challenge swordless, it's actually really important that you juice your curses for all they're worth. Because mandatory curses are... Curses galore means you're going to get a lot of curses from treasure chest, and treasure chests are your only way of getting items. So right now I know that's probably a special room to the right, because I know I have a one-way door loop to the left there. There's only 2 rooms it could be. I've already seen the one-way door before this. So that's probably going to be where my key is. So that's probably a special room to the right. That's actually incorrect. This turns out to be a Y juncture. So Y juncture is not always recognizable. And at this point, I know that I have to go back because I've seen the key door here. So I know that now there's a crystal barrier behind that door. I don't care. I have the moon pearl. And as soon as you see this room with a one-way door on the same side as one door, you know that's going to be a key or a crystal switch room. On the other hand, this is a dead end and it has a thing off it. That's going to be a special room. So I'm going to open this chest just to kind of play at it. I don't usually open chests. That could have been a bad curse, come to think. So that might have actually screwed my run. But I didn't take it. So that might have been something like items that replenish MP no longer replenish. And then I believe I still need I still recover my MP once. So, you know, I could have gotten a curse that still would have made my run at least much more difficult to take longer. So I never said this, I don't think, originally, but 10 minutes is a good time to get down to village. In this one, I got down to the village at, 15 minutes? So this was already a bad run before I got to village. And now that I'm past here, a good run after the village takes like maybe 1 minute per lair. So I'm not doing well on this run. Now, on the other hand, that's also why I want this run, because I want something that's going to be easy for people to beat. Easy for new people to beat, especially. Now, this is still a very fast run. Beating it under an hour is still speedrun strats, and a lot of people have difficulty beating this game under 2 hours. Now, the first time I beat this game, I had an hour 15, but, you know, I speedrun Link to the Past, and I speedrun a couple of other categories. So now I'm trying to figure out where the keys are, and I'm remembering this room had a pathway on the other side. So this wasn't going back to an already established part, this was going through a room I've already seen, which is a very common way for the map to tell you, hey, go this way. Right now I'm figuring one of these guys probably has a key, and these ball and chain guys very, very commonly have one. So I need a key somewhere in here in the next 3 rooms. I just got the key from that guard, now I can move on. Here I'm figuring this is, here's where I recover my magic, and you know what? I think I would have been fine in this room, even with it. There's a lot of spikes. I might have taken some extra damage. Oh, no. There's 2 Hinoxes and a red Beamos. I think I would have been totally screwed if I had to do this room, honestly. Especially avoiding all the spikes. So I'm super glad that I didn't have a, no MP thing here. And right now I'm trying to remember that Beamos is right there, just off the screen. He might have sniped me at any moment. So I'm like, oh, I maybe shouldn't have decloaked, but it didn't lead to anything bad. This is a busy room, so I'm going to immediately cloak. And so Ganon's floor is always going to have all 64 rooms filled. I've never come across a case where that's not the case. Now, you might have some gaps in your map. As far as I know, those are always going to be secret rooms. So right now, I know that I have to go downwards probably. I know this is a door loop right now, so I'm hoping the door loop is downwards, which would save me time. Why did I go up here? Oh, I knew this was a one-way door loop already, so I was figuring I probably needed a key. I should have checked out whether it was a key or a crystal barrier that was stopping me first, but that turned out to be the right call. So I'm still operating on early floor strats right now, which is, it didn't actually cost me much time in this run, because this was pretty bad map gen in general. And I did in fact have a key here, so that was the right call to make, with post knowledge. It just would have been the wrong call to make, knowing I had a Master Moon Pearl in my inventory. So now I know there's going to be another locked room down there. I'm hoping that it is a barrier, not a crystal, not a key. Except it turns out to be neither, I believe? Yeah, it turns out to be neither. This is just a spot I can go. So this is another floor where I'm commenting about, where is all my movable blocks? So in the 1.1.4 beta, and I am a beta tester for it, if only because I'm a senior admin on the server and Justin can't stop me from seeing that channel. Words are difficult and I am unable to form it. 1.1.4 beta, there is a slightly different sprite for movable blocks than for non-movable blocks, which makes it much, much faster to look through and see them, and to know if they're actually movable when you've just been pushing the wrong area. So right now I'm saying I have healing on him. Nice to get that right before Agahnim, and you have to use it before you go in, of course. If I had thrown a bomb at this point and let myself be injured by it, I would be able to skip this cutscene. It would still be happening. I'd just be able to walk straight up through to Ganon and start talking to him while this is still going off, and the screen's still flashing, and you can still hear the sound effects in the background. But I didn't have bombs at this point, because I gave them up for more inventory slots, and as you can see, I don't use bombs unless I have to, or I see Secret Room. And that's something that comes from all challenges swordless, where ammo's at a ammo is very difficult to get. So right now I'm regretting being hit by such an obvious one. So his attack patterns, he's only going to throw the bombs from that top metal position. He's only going to throw these 4 orbs at a time at you, and it's always going to be 4 shots when he's in one of the corners of the room. He's only going to do this from the bottom of the room, the gravity. But in any position, he might charge up like that and fire a shot at you. You know he's going to do that because he'll raise both hands and he'll do the charge. You know that he's going to do the 4 things if he just lifts one hand and quickly casts. But of course, you should already be moving by the time he's casting any of these spells anyway. You don't try to predict what he's going to do from his sprite. Just do it. So as you can see, he requires 6 bombs, I believe. I should probably go back and count this. This is a video. There used to be a bug, by the way, where while this gravity was going on, you could not be hurt by spikes. That is now no longer the case. You can be hurt by the spikes in 1.1.4. So be aware of that if that's a strat that you used earlier. Now, there's another speedrun strat that I'm not doing here. It's too risky with low health. But when he drops bombs, if you hit him with the first bomb, then the last 5th bomb, you can actually pick it up and throw it at him and kill him when he teleports to the next area. So it's possible to get 2 hits on him per area. Alright, so that was the run. I hope this was very educational to anyone watching. It's 47:52, which I said is difficult if you're casual, and it's easy once you start getting into speedrunning. I think that's ideal to start off the category. As well, this is not my category in the first place, so I'm not sad that my run is literally twice as long as Boomstick's current world record. So, no one's completed AC Swordless yet. I'm looking forward to be the first to do that, but first I have to get back to running it. I've been running this one for a while so that I had the main category, an example of the main category run that I could use to teach people to get into speedrunning this game, and that I could use to submit to speedrun.com. So there we go.